In this video, we will take a look at the else keyword in Python. The else keyword is used in conjunction with the if statement, kind of similar to the elif. The else statement defines a block of code that should be executed when the condition of the if statement evaluates to false. We will also see that the else statement should be executed when the conditions of the if and elif statements all evaluate to false. Else is the last piece of the puzzle for the if, elif and else statements that allow us to control programmatic flow with Python. Let's take stock where we're at from the last video. We had an if statement followed by two elif statements. If any of the if or elif statements were true, the code was executed up to that point. We also saw if they all returned false, nothing happened. This is where the else comes in. If all are false, we can dictate what block of code can be executed. Now we do not have to use if, elif, else. It can simply be if and else. And we'll see that in this video. So let's head over to PyScripter and check it out. Let's consider the last block of code that we executed in the previous video, where we had an if and two elif statements that all returned false and nothing happened. Now I know I'm keeping it simple with numeric values here. This is just to get the concept of the if, elif and else statements across. Please make sure to check out your reference workbook and also the try it yourself sections below the Python snippets below this video and the other videos in this section. We'll start with our if statement. If 5 is greater than 10, which we know is false, print this will not be executed. So that print statement will never be executed because our if statement returns false. We then have an elif 5 equals 10, which is also false. So I'll just copy that print statement up there and paste. And then we had another elif 11 less than 10, which is also false. And that will also not be executed. We'll run that and we can see nothing was printed to the screen. I'll hit up. This time I'm going to add in the else statement. Now the else statement is not conditional. If all the above evaluate to false, the else statement and the code block will be executed. Print this will be executed because all the above were false. And we'll run and we can see our else block of code was executed. I hit up. Now if I change the first if statement to less than 10, this will be executed. Our two elifs will not be executed and neither will the else. So we can change our else. This will not be executed. Run the code and we can see that the code block for our if statement was printed to screen. So our if statement returned true, meaning that everything that followed it was not considered to be executed. As soon as the first true was met, the rest of the statements are not considered. We'll change our if statement to be false again, so this will not be executed. And we'll change our first elif to be 10 equals 10, so this one will be true and this one will be executed. We'll run the code and we can see our elif was the only executed block. Let's do that once more and we'll change the second elif to be greater than and show that this still will not be executed because this elif statement returned true first. Now it doesn't have to always be if, elif, else. It can simply be an if and an else. So if 5 is less than 10, which is true, print the if executed, else print the else executed. And we can see that our if statement was true. So our print, the if executed, was printed to screen, and else was not considered because if was true. If was false, so I'll put this as greater than 10. So this is now false. This print statement will not be executed, and our else will kick in, and the else is executed will be printed to screen. We'll hit run, and we can see that the else statement was executed because the if was false. In this video, we took a look at the else keyword in Python, which we saw can be used in conjunction with the if statement or if elif statements. The else statement is only executed when the if and the elif statements above all return false. In the next video, we'll take a little more of an in-depth look and assessment into the if, elif and else statements that enable us to control the programmatic flow of a Python script.